Hi, I think I just missed a call from you guys. I was trying to get a hold of a DA, investigator. Maybe you could tell him to just try me again. I'm sorry I missed the call.
This is Jane Hermer. I'm the chief investigator with the district attorney's office in Boulder.
Oh!
I was returning your call.
Oh, you were the person. Okay, that's really sweet. Okay, so let's get a couple of variables kind of set so we know what we're talking about, because that always seems to be the issue. But in several different cities, like the municipal codes for Boulder, for instance, they have a 5-6-16 staying on medians prohibited. And as far as we can tell, that only applies to streets, public roads, and not private drives. Is that something that we can both agree on?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't have the Boulder City Code in front of me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I know. I always get ahead of myself. Okay, well, in a nutshell, there were a couple of officers that have falsely imprisoned my brother and I on the private drives of 28th and Walnut, behind the actual signs that say private drives there, no city maintenance. And they had picked us up with what started off as a panhandling statute. We asked what statute, they just said panhandling, and then they moved it to medians. And then they gave us the statute number, wrote us tickets, but would not let us get our phones out to go over the actual statutes. And we've been through this before with more than three other jurisdictions, but there are three other specific private drives in North Glen, Federal Heights, and Westminster that we've had to deal with this issue before. And so we know that the private drive does not apply to a median statute. And so this was false imprisonment. Basically, we've had this happen to us so many times. We actually caught the entire thing on tape from beginning to end. And it's up on YouTube right now because we can't get our help for our other 20 plus false imprisonments. We're kind of in a rut right now. So we're trying to get as much due process started on this one as fast as we can, since this was the newest, freshest one, and the most obvious one. And so if you want to go look it up yourself to start the due process, all you have to do is type in arrested by Boulder police, and you'll be able to see there a big picture of a private drive sign and a cop vehicle behind it. So what we're really concerned about, and what we have been following for a couple of years now, are what we consider potentially to be racketeering type activities, basically lying, covering things up, going to court, perjuring, false documents for court, you name it. And so in this case, we were extremely clear with them from the very get-go that that's a private drive, and they would not budge. They literally pretended that they didn't have to do anything. They obviously didn't. We mentioned the signs right there, right behind them, and they wouldn't go look at them. And so we know from our experience with having to fight these things in the past that when there's no probable cause, there might not even be arguable probable cause, and usually officers are pretty quick to lose their probable cause when exculpatory evidence is presented in front of them, and they basically don't do what's considered a minimum level of an investigation, according to the case law. And so in this case, we caught them red-handed, and this is not the first time, and that's why we're trying to get everything else up on YouTube too. We have about 16 full-on open and shut 42 USCs, and then this was the final one, the 17th. So ultimately, we have about 30 cases of homeless discrimination and human trafficking. We don't like to say that, but most of the panhandling statutes have been misapplied on a system-wide level without like due process. Like cops don't know the definitions of roads, private drives, things like that. And so we really need your help on this one, because if you don't want to do this, then it's going to be the same thing as all the other internal affairs. Basically, you're either going to ratify whatever they say, jump on the bandwagon, or you're going to have to throw them under the bus. And so we're not trying to be mean people or anything. We're just really sick and tired of being picked up illegally, profiled, basically as like a homeless lynch. And so this time it was 100% caught on tape from beginning to end. Well, most of them are, only a few aren't. And so we just wanted to give you that direction. I have one more video to upload like right now. I had just called in. We do this a lot, by the way. Thanks for letting me talk. I'm almost done. Basically, we end up doing a super sting. Basically, we call back in to dispatch and to police and stuff, and we kind of pose as anti-abortionists and say things like, yeah, can we hold our sign on that private drive? And they say, absolutely, versus what they did earlier, which was pick us up. And so I just got that audio of Boulder Police. I got to go upload that. But the officers that aren't in the middle of a ticket are very clear to tell us that private property is completely fine and that there's no issues holding signs on medians, because medians don't exist on private drives. And so all the information's up there, the statutes, the plats. We always look at plats ahead of time, Boulder County and city. And so, what we're concerned about is a human trafficking, kidnapping ring. I hate to say these things, I really do, but you're the next one in line. So I really appreciate you hearing me out. That's about all I have to say. You can Google or YouTube it from there, but it would be nice if you could follow up with me if you find that there is something there.